and endured the agony in silence. She'd accepted the pain, and for a few brief minutes, her mind had taken her to the beach in Florida, where she'd gone with her parents 2 years ago. White sand hot on her feet, a breeze so moist and warm, it was like the breath of God on her soul. "Help me, Mama." The sound of boots against concrete jerked her from her reverie. She raised her head and looked around wildly, trying in vain to see past the blindfold. She could hear her breaths rushing between her teeth, like a wild animal that had been hunted down for slaughter. She hated him. She hated what he was, what he'd done to her. If only she could loosen her binds and run. "Stay away from me, you son of a bitch!" she shouted. "Stay away!" But she knew he wouldn't. A gloved hand brushed her hip. Twisting, she lashed out with both feet. A fleeting sense of satisfaction unfurled when her tormentor grunted. Then the snap of electricity cracked like lightning. Pain raked down her body, as if she were at the end of a bullwhip that had just been snapped. For an instant, the world went silent and gray. Vaguely, she was aware of hands touching her feet, the distant clink of steel against concrete, cold seeping into her, till her entire body quaked uncontrollably. A pristine new terror whipped through her when she realized her attacker had wrapped a chain around her ankles. The cold links dug into her skin when it was drawn tight. She tried to kick, tried to free her legs so she could make one last, desperate stand. But it was too late. She screamed until she ran out of breath. She floundered, twisting and writhing, but her efforts were futile. Above her, steel rattled against steel. The chain slowly lifted her feet from the floor. "Why are you doing this?" she cried. "Why?" The chain jangled, pulling her feet upward, higher and higher until she was hanging upside down. All the blood in her body seemed to pool in her head. It pounded in her face, the veins throbbing. She fought to right herself, but gravity tugged her down. "Help me! Someone!" A mindless panic gripped her when a gloved hand grasped her hair. A scream poured from her lungs when the monster drew her head back. The sudden heat of a razor cut pricked her throat. As if from a great distance she heard the sound of water pouring down, like the spray from a shower echoing off tile walls. Staring into the darkness of the blindfold, she listened to her lifeblood drain away. This could not be happening. Not to her. Not in Painter's Mill. As if someone had flipped a switch, her mind went fuzzy. Her face grew hot, but her body was cold. Terror ebbed into a dull and steady hum. Pain faded into nothingness. Her muscles went slack. Her limbs began to tingle. "He's not going to hurt me after all," she thought. And she escaped to the white sand beach, where slender palms swayed like elegant flamenco dancers, and the bluest water she'd ever seen stretched as far as the eye could see. Chapter 1. The cruiser's strobes cast red and blue light onto winter-dead trees. Officer T.J. Banks pulled the car onto the shoulder and flipped on the spotlight, running the beam along the edge of the field where cornstalks shivered in the cold. 20 yards away, 6 Jersey cows stood in the bar ditch, chewing their cud. "Stupid fucking cows," he muttered. Besides chickens, they had to be the dumbest animals on earth. He hit the radio. "Dispatch, this is 47.
"What's up, TJ?"
asked Mona, the night dispatcher. "I got a 1054. Stutz's damn cows are out again."
"That's the second time in a week."
"Always on my shift, too."
"So, what are you going to do?"